Listening Colour. Hi everybody, welcome to Listening Colour with me, Rachel Walker-Mason. Here we go. I love this song. Oh, it's gorgeous, and I love the music video for this. I remember the very first time I saw this video, must have been on MTV in the late 90s, and I was just like, what is this? Mostly you had rock bands playing in a desert, kind of strumming, and then they're here with this very strange kind of set to this airship, and it's really unusual, and it's set in this this very specific style of filming, which is some of the earliest films ever made, and they were shot like in a conservatory, like a big light house, big box of like glass and things. It was amazing. If you've seen the film Hugo, like it's based on the Jules Verne story From the Earth to the Moon, and it's quite weird. It's quite strange, and it reminds me of Wallace and Gromit as well. If you know Wallace and Gromit films that are very British and made in Bristol, which is not far away from us. They have a story where the man and his dog go up to the moon and have a picnic on the moon, and it's kind of the same story with them taking off from Earth, going to the moon and coming back again, and it's a very similar story to the Jules Verne From the Earth to the Moon, where they go up to the moon and then they like fight with some aliens and then come back again or something. It's you know, and it's an early film that was made, which is quite groundbreaking. And very kind of sci-fi, when you think back then there wasn't really sci-fi. They didn't have rockets, and they couldn't fly to the moon. So it's kind of amazing that the story was thought of, and I quite like that, even though it bears no resemblance to the lyrics whatsoever, it's a really cool video. I quite like it. It's it's fun. It's got the introduction is really long, and it plays a big chunk of the pre and the chorus, just the strings and the band, before anything else happens. So it's got quite an unusual introduction, because we often say in music you want to get to the chorus within 30 seconds, but the introduction takes up like 20 seconds on its own, and then there's a little bit, and then it's the main the verse, and then it's the pre. So it takes a while to do anything in this, but I wouldn't make the intro any shorter. I really like it, and as you know probably from other videos, I am an enormous sucker for a rock band with a massive string section. I'm there. As soon as that happens, I am in, and this is one of my favourite examples of a rock band and a massive string section. Makes me so happy. Let's get back to that airship. There we go. I love this video. It's so creepy, but amazing. They used to scare me. They look like ghosts. It's like, I have a slight allergy to black and white films. I don't think I'm the only person that has this, but black and white films, something to do with the colour that makes me feel like physically sick. And so this video gives me an odd kind of thing, because the people are like in black and white, but everything else is in colour. So I have this slightly queasy feeling watching it. There's obviously something wrong with me. One of the things I love about this is the way Billy Corgan sings Tonight. And now, I know his voice is very polarising. Some people love his voice, some people absolutely hate his voice. But one thing you can say about his voice is you know it's him. And that, as a singer, is a really important quality. So he's probably got what we would term, particularly in musical theatre, as an ugly voice, which I don't really like that term, but some people say that, like voices that are kind of unusual, not classically beautiful, like Macy Gray and people like that, who have an unusual voice. But I don't think they're ugly. I think they're amazing, because you know it's them straight away. There's something really unusual about their voice that just makes them them. Billy Corgan has that voice. It is quite whiny. It almost sounds like an electric guitar at points. It's very cutting. It's like, he's basically, I often talk about using twang, adding that quality to a voice to help it kind of ping in some notes. But Billy's basically always there. He's all in, he's there all the time, which, so there's never a moment where he's not in a nasalised sound. So it does sound narrower and further forward, because it's all coming through kind of this rather than he's adding that twang into it. And I know some people really don't like that, but some people do. And one of the things you can say about the Smashing Pumpkins or Billy Corgan's solo work is that when it comes on the radio, you know it's him. You don't think, oh, is it Chris Cornell? Is it Eddie Vedder? Who is it? You never think that, because you know straight away that's who it is. And working in the music industry for a long time, I know that is something that particularly record companies look for, is a voice that within 2 seconds on the radio you go, I know who that is. And that's why some people get deals and some people don't, because they sound too like somebody else. They have to have something unique and marketable about them, even if it isn't about having the prettiest voice. Sometimes that's not what we want. And particularly in a rock band, you don't particularly need a pretty voice. You need someone with edge. No matter what that edge is, it can really work. And there's a lot of things he can do with his voice. He sits in that nasalised sound a lot, so it's a kind of reedy, kind of like an oboe, that kind of nasalised, hard edge sound. So it's not a particularly full voice, but then he can scream, he can do quite a lot of stuff, and then he does go down into his lower register as well. So he has got quite a lot of ability vocally, but he tends to stay in that quality most of the time, because that's what he's best known for. So people are entitled to their opinion, but when people say they don't like his voice, I think, yeah, but you know it's his voice. You know it's his voice when it comes on the radio, and if that's what makes you switch off, then fine, but you know straight away that is Billy Corgan, and I think that is a successful voice. Now, one of my favourite things in singing, and I was taught this when I was quite young doing musical theatre, and I teach and I write a lot of musical theatre still, when there's a line that repeats, why is it repeated? Why are we saying that twice or 3 times? And if we vocally do the same thing twice, we haven't really gained anything else about the character or about the situation. So I insist that my students think of different ways they can sing the same thing and see if they can make a different meaning out of it, or they can lean onto a different note or a different part of the word, different syllable. And Billy Corgan really does that every time he sings Tonight, the word tonight, and there's a lot of the word tonight in this song. The song is called Tonight, Tonight, and he says tonight, tonight a lot of times. Every time it's different. And even if it's not pretty, it doesn't really matter to me, because he uses completely different parts of the word. So he leans on the I or it, and he uses breath sometimes with it I, or rolls into the I, and sometimes he doesn't quite go into that nasal, he goes ah rather than I. So it's quite it's really interesting that he's choosing to do that rather than just copy and paste the same thing. Because when I'm doing vocal producing stuff in a studio, quite often with pop stuff, you can do one chorus of the vocal and you can just copy and paste it all the way through, because that's kind of what the record wants, just a continuous same sound, and then you just put some little ad-libs on the end, job done. I can't imagine Billy Corgan would ever do that. He would sing the whole thing through and do it differently every time. And why not? Make it interesting. If you can do it, go for it. And I love that. Let's look at all the ways he sings tonight in this chorus. Here we go. So that the first one he does tonight more than tonight. It's tonight, like tonight. So he does tonight, and then tonight, and he uses a load of breath in it. Tonight, which is quite hard to keep a vocal going with that much air in it, because in order to have air coming through, you have to part your vocal folds, so you get that air. So the more air you have coming through, the further apart your vocal folds are. So therefore you can't make the note. You get that. So he keeps that control, and it doesn't go out of tune. He keeps his vocal folds in a position where he's letting enough air through that you can hear it quite clearly, but he doesn't lose control of the notes. It's really clever, really clever. And that's just the first chorus. Let's hear what he does next with this Tonight. So that's a tonight. So he kind of chews that one. That's a kind of chewier one. And then he just drops the last one. Tonight. Which is great in just that kind of very speech quality. Yeah, just tonight. He doesn't over sing the last one. He just lets it go. It's beautiful. It's so good. Right. Oh, this video's so creepy. So lyrically, this song is really interesting. I've never really known what it's about, because the chorus is just tonight, tonight. So the chorus doesn't really tell you very much. But the verses, time is never time at all. You can never ever leave without leaving a piece of youth. Oh, gosh. I remember the very first time I heard this song was actually on an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the TV show with Melissa Joan Hart. And I remember there's an episode where she has to sneak out of the house on her broomstick to go and see the Smashing Pumpkins in concert, and they play Tonight Tonight, and particularly the bit with the strings while she's flying through the air. And I was like, strings in a rock song. I was sold. I was in. I was like, what is this? I need to hear it immediately. And one of my friends had their album, so I went and listened to it and was obsessed, because it's so beautiful. And the chorus, the way the chorus drops out into that half speed, and it's like this tension, and then it drops right out, and the strings separate, and you've got these lovely high strings and low strings. Musically, it's all there, and then the speed is all da 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 da, and then the chorus, it kind of pulls open, and you've got the strings in a much wider expanse of the kind of musical soundscape, and the vocals just night, just that one note, and everything just completely changes. It's incredible. It's like you've been pedaling a bike and then you just freewheel down a hill, is what the chorus feels like in this one. And colour-wise, the chorus and verse are very different. So the verse is quite dark, almost like blackishy grey kind of thing, and it's all quite, and often his voice has that very dark quality, a kind of a bit like Tarmac kind of thing, like a crunchy, edgy kind of feel to me. It's not a beautiful thin line like Aurora's or something. It's crunchier and harder and lower down in the mix to me, like sonically and visually as well. His voice is down there somewhere. And then the chorus feels completely different. It's the total opposite. And it is like the freewheeling down a hill moment, and everything goes into like lovely white and you can breathe, and it's just gorgeous. The difference between the verse and the chorus in this song is just stunning. So he's doing believe, and he goes believe, and just sort of shouts that one, believe, and it's just got this really Eve sound in it. So he's doing believe, and then this totally different shape for the same word, which is really interesting. And there's like an explosion that happens on screen at the same time, so it feels quite forceful, believe. And it's really interesting that he chooses to do that at that point rather than believe. It's really, it's an interesting vocal colour to use there. I don't always understand the reasons he does things, but I'm always interested in them because they would have been a calculated choice. Because he can do a lot of different things with his voice and a lot of different vowel shapes, as we hear in this song just from the word tonight. So it's really interesting to see what his choices are. And I don't think he ever worries about sounding pretty. You know, some singers always want to sound really beautiful. I think because his voice isn't a pretty voice, he never has to worry about that. And he can just sound how he wants. He can put forcefulness or aggression or anger or disgust into his voice, and he never has to worry that people won't find it pretty, because it's not pretty anyway. I quite like that. He's kind of free from that. It's quite nice. I've had a look at the meaning of the lyrics because I've never really understood them, and I know that the video doesn't really bear any resemblance to the meaning of the song. But it's apparently about hope, self-belief and overcoming hardship, and it's a kind of quite a personal song that Billy Corgan wrote to himself, overcoming like a hard childhood, difficulties in his past. And it's actually really encouraging. It's really lovely. Time is never time at all. You can never leave without leaving a piece of youth. It's really sad. Our lives are forever changed. Will never be the same. The more you change, the less you feel. Those are quite heartbreaking lines. But then it's, believe in me. And I think he's saying that to himself. He's saying, like, I have to believe in myself that it's going to be okay. We're not the same, we're different tonight. Oh. This line is gorgeous. And you know you're never sure, but you're sure you could be right if you held yourself up to the light. I love that line, because it's like the idea of holding yourself up to the light. You can see everything inside, and you can see where all the shadows are cast. And like you're looking inside yourself, you're trying to figure yourself out and really see what you are. If you have liked what I'm doing and you would like to support me in some way, then I would love you to buy me a coffee, or a tea, as I say, because I'm British. The link is on the screen here. If you would like to support me more regularly, which would be amazing, for £1.99 a month, you can become a member of the Colourwave crew, where you get to see videos that I've made come out especially for you first. Supporting me this way means that I can help feed my family, I can actually record bits of music projects, I can make more videos, and I can, live my life as a musician, which is increasingly hard to do since the advent of streaming, as we all know. So anything you're able to support me with, I am always so grateful for.
Tonight, so bright, tonight.
Oh, and I love it when a song ends on the dominant or the minor third and it doesn't go where you think it's going to go. It is gorgeous. I love it. It's a really simple song in that there's very few lyrics, and a lot of them are tonight. But it's and then you've got classic, very classic Smashing Pumpkins lyrics. We'll crucify the insincere tonight. There's often something like that in their songs. Even the song that my husband and I walked up the aisle to has a line in it quite similar to that, so we had to slightly amend it. But it's classic Pumpkins here. But the rest of it's really beautiful. The impossible is possible tonight. I love that. It's such a beautiful, like, ending on that hopeful note that's a kind of message to yourself or to a higher power, or it's like you're like counselling yourself. You're saying it's going to be okay. Things are going to be better. The impossible is possible. And tonight, this point in history that Billy is talking about is the time when it started to get better, or he started to gain a better control, or started to be able to comfort himself about his past, to really look at what had happened. It's actually really beautiful. I'd never really understood it before, so this is quite nice having a chance to understand this song that I've heard so many times and sung along with so many times. And my husband and I saw them play live earlier this year, and they were amazing. And they weren't even promoting an album, so they just played the stuff they wanted to play. It was awesome. So they obviously played this, and they played Ava Adore, which is my favourite, and lots of other stuff that we loved. And it was beautiful. They didn't have strings on stage because that's expensive to cart a string orchestra around with you. But they had that, as a track, and it was beautiful. It's just such a lovely song, and hearing everyone in the stadium singing tonight, 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 it was just kind of magical. It was this beautiful moment that I'll never forget, and it's a gorgeous song. And I think Billy's unusual and slightly harsh voice adds to it in an odd way. Like, someone could sing it and make it sound beautiful, and that would be great, but it wouldn't be very interesting. I think the juxtaposition of this beautiful sonic landscape that's plush and juicy, and then this very hard, reedy voice, it kind of works. I'm kind of into it. What do you guys think? Some of you will really disagree with me, but some of you might agree. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, because I'm always really interested to know what people think about singers' voices that are unusual. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, share and comment. I love your comments. Please keep them coming, and have a colourful day.